Hey everybody, Gavin here. Just wanted to go live for just a short video. It's actually getting kind of late. It's about, what is it? It's like 11:20 down here for us Central timers down here in Central Mexico, or for you Central timers up there in Estados Unidos. Buenas noches. Just thought I would go live for a few minutes. I don't think I've gone live for you guys this week, and I wanted to go live especially. I always like to go live and just do some videos to chat, give a special shout out to our Patreon supporters, and especially to them and to our channel backers right here. You can actually back the channel now right here on YouTube and pitch in a couple bucks a month. And good to see you guys. BLW News Now, Scammer Basher, Sally, Son of Hightower, everybody, shout out to all you guys. Good evening. I just wanted to go live for a few minutes. It's probably kind of echoey because my office is still kind of empty. We're working on that, working on kind of our fall projects. Did some working on some fall projects over on my photography, SimonFX.com, my day job stuff online. You can actually follow my other channel. Head on over to youtube.com/Seim Studios, SEIM Studios, and mash that subscribe button if you have any interest in following what I do. But picked up a couple new cameras lately. Got a Fuji X series, really cool camera for you camera nerds, for my street photography. And then this is more for the video side of things. Picked up a new Sony a7 III to go along with a bunch of other stuff. But this isn't a camera show. I'm just kind of excited working with this stuff. This is what I've been doing. But it's almost Dia del Muerte. I'm going to pronounce this. I'm learning Spanish. People say, oh, your Spanish sucks. And I'm like, of course my Spanish sucks. That's how it sounds when you're learning. This is something that I want to shout out to all of you guys. If you're trying to learn another language, or people down here, I see this a lot. A lot of Mexicanos, they actually know quite a bit of English, but they're afraid to use it. They're intimidated. And no wonder in the United States, people treat them like trash if they don't speak English. It's hard to learn a language. And so one of the things, because I don't know, I guess maybe I'm just used to speaking, that even though I don't know the language, I will just say whatever I know, right? I'll guess at words. I'll get as close as I can. And they respect that because I'm trying, and I learn a lot that way. Because I don't wait until I know how to work the word, right? I don't wait until I really know the word and the pronunciation. I just use it. Whenever I have the opportunity, I think it through as I'm trying to communicate people. I just go through and I grab whatever word I think will work and I use it. So Dia del Muerte is Day of the Dead, that's right. And it's kind of like Halloween. Goes way back before Spanish colonization down in Mexico, particularly in the central and southern side of Mexico. And it's kind of like their Halloween, although it's different. It seems much more family-oriented and less ghoulish-oriented, like our Halloween, at least like our Halloween in the USA has become, the origins of Halloween. You know, we could debate about the paganism and the issues with it and all that kind of stuff on both sides, right? However, Halloween in the north goes back to like All Saints Day and Dia de Muertos goes back to the native cultures before Spanish colonization and Catholicism and things like that here. And it's kind of their day to celebrate the dead. They have a lot of rituals and traditions that go along. Thanks, Abraham. Pronunciation. I love the CION words, by the way, guys, because CION and TION words, any word that's TION in English, education, pronunciation, I'm saying it the Spanish way, but education, okay? I'm roughly getting that right. Those all cross over. So, but Halloween and Day of the Dead, do they cross over? Well, we're going to see. This is my first time that I've seen Day of the Dead. And it's interesting because Day of the Dead is not a day, like Halloween has kind of become this ghoulish, celebrate, chainsaw massacres and violence. And I like candy, and I've taken my kids trick-or-treating. I'm not one of these people to make a big deal out of one day or say that this one day is horrible and we can't enjoy it. I'm under Christ, not under the law. But at the same time, Halloween has always been a little bit strange, like a little bit psycho to me. And from what I've seen, if you've watched the movie Coco, It's actually, I hate to give too much credit to Disney because they're not really good people, but it's actually fairly respectful to the culture, and finally a movie that's not trashing on Mexico. So it actually has some good information, right? The Mexicans, from what I can tell, love Coco. In fact, the town that is based in is near where I am. It's a few hours away, and it's kind of one of the central cultural towns for Dia de Muertos. So it's pretty interesting stuff. And what I've noticed, and I'm going to see more of this, hopefully I'll get to do a vlog on the week of Day of the Dead down here and kind of show you guys some of the culture, because so far what I've seen, it really strikes me as a lot different than Halloween, where it's like celebrating violence and demonism, whereas Day of the Dead is more about remembering family and things like that, because of course that's very strong in the culture here. And so actually, yeah, the bread of the dead, man. Check this out. Let me show you guys a couple things. So this is kind of why I made this video, because I thought it was kind of interesado. Is that, you know how around this time of year, right? It's interesting, even though it doesn't get cold down here, there's still kind of that fall atmosphere. I just did a product for Lightroom that's geared towards editing the fall light, beautiful fall light. And what's interesting is, even though we're not getting that frost on the ground in the morning down here in Central Mexico, there's still that fall atmosphere. There's that spark in the air. There's the fog in the morning. It's strange. It's almost like anywhere you go in the world, there's still autumn, even though not a lot changes in the weather. But you know, in the United States, if you're from the United States, you know that around Halloween, Thanksgiving, we kind of have this transition period where we kind of fast forward to our secularized and fakeized, lustful version of celebrating Christ's birth that we have in the USA, and then to the lascivious partying New Year's. I get together with family on Thanksgiving and Christmas when they're around, and New Year's. You know, I don't have a problem with celebrating holidays. Sometimes I just think we need a little perspective. But what I've noticed is, you know how in the States we get the pumpkin pie and all that kind of stuff? Well, in the USA, everything is pumpkin pie spice, right? Pumpkin pie lattes and pumpkin pie this and pumpkin pie that. That's all good and well if you like pumpkin pie. If you don't like pumpkin pie, that's like Halloween Scareville, right? That's what I'm saying. So down here, though, it's all like, it's a different theme. It's not pumpkin pie. It's like bread of the dead. Pan de muerte. Pan de muerte. Okay, so here's some pan de muerte. I don't know if this is traditional. I bought this at a store. You know what? It's kind of like Hawaiian sweetbread, but a little more like maybe more honey. I almost feel like it maybe has apples in it. But pan is bread, by the way. Pan. It's probably more how I should say that. It's actually delicious. It's very dense. It's a very thick bread. It's a very heavy bread, and this is like a traditional bread here down here for Day of the Dead. And it really, when I first tasted it, I'm like, oh, this is that yellow Hawaiian sweetbread that we get in the States. Maybe better because it's more traditional and probably fresh. But it's there this time of year. This is something you see a lot in Mexico, is things that are very seasonal, very cultural. You don't necessarily get everything at all times of the year down here because things work different. It's good. I taste sweetness, but not sweetness like cake. More of a honey, soft sweetness, which I like because I can't stand treats, cakes and stuff. They're just way too sweet, but it doesn't stop there. Check this out. These are Cheetos, okay? Calicatos dulces. I don't know what a calicatos is. One of you better Spanish speakers, hi Moth, can maybe fill me in on that. But there's actually like Day of the Dead Cheetos in Walmart. And these are not cheese, okay? Check these out. These are like little skulls and Day of the Dead symbolism. And there's like the skull, and then there's like the lady. Oh, I forget the lady's name, but there's a lady who's always dressed beautifully. And around this time of year, I'm sure we'll see some of those if I can do a Dia de Muertos vlog. But these are almost like cinnamon twists. I hate to say this, but what I first thought when I tasted one of these is cinnamon twists. They're like cinnamony sweet skulls. Yeah, skulls. Thank you. But they taste like cinnamon twists, almost from Taco Bell in the U.S. That's just what I thought of when I tried them. They're actually pretty good though. Kind of a apple cinnamon chip, which is weird to see that with the Cheetos brand on it. Okay, so those are some of the things that I've kind of been noticing here. Instead of pumpkin pie themed stuff, we have Day of the Dead themed stuff. And what's interesting to me about Day of the Dead is that it actually seems to promote the idea of not being, rather than death is good, it's that death is part of life and we should deal with it with honor and dignity. And I think that's kind of interesting. So, hey everyone that's kind of popped in late, good to see you guys in there. And I'm gonna do some looking into that. Evan Suko, we're gonna check into that. We're gonna check into kind of what's around. And I'm hoping to do some kind of a vlog or something. I got all these new cameras this fall, right, for my work. So maybe I can put some of those to work and do some cool footage for Dia de Muertos. I'm trying to get that right, Dia de Muertos. Educación en español. I'm working on mi español. It's getting better. Hablas poco español. Es poco más día a día. Más bueno, pero es muy difícil para mí. Lenguaje es difícil. Okay, so I don't need to keep this going long. Just kind of wanted to show you some of the different cultures, right? A lot of my viewers, I know we have more and more viewers down here in Mexico. Huge shout out to you guys. And maybe some of you Mexicanos can actually shout out and put some more information on traditional seasonal foods, right, that I should be looking for. Mexican Independence Day was the white peppers. What did they call that? With the pomegranate seeds. I showed it to you in my Independence Day video. Thanks, Abraham. Those were very good. And so each holiday has its own specific foods and stuff. And I guess we kind of do that in the US too, but the truth is you can go to Safeway and buy a pumpkin pie pretty much any day of the year in the USA. So it's interesting because I'm coming up on my first year in Mexico and as an escapee of the United States. And I have been, so I've been able to see all these different things in each season and each culture. And so I'll watch. You guys can shout out in the comments. I'll watch more of your comments later, and we'll look for kind of the dishes and the specialties down here. Looking to actually try and get together with some other YouTubers down here in Mexico, and maybe we can work that out. And I'm just going to keep pushing and trying to make more content and more shows and figure out where we're going with this channel and where the message is going, because the message is always about exposing the corruption and freedom and liberty, but it's also about escaping the tyranny. It's about the process of where in the world can we go to find a little bit of peace and not be at risk constantly of being in the concentration camps like in the USA, and the total lawlessness and denial of due process and third world level justice that people are experiencing there. And I think we just got to keep speaking out, keep exposing that, keep loving our neighbor, and we can have a little bit of culture and a bit of fun along the way. So I want to thank you guys. I know this channel's changed somewhat. People say, "Oh, you've changed because you're not pulling over cops." Well, the truth is, I've had interactions with cops in Mexico. You can go watch them here. They're not nearly as intense because cops in Mexico are not psychopathic killers like Blue ISIS in the United States that just arbitrarily murder you on the side of the road. So quite frankly, it's not near as intense. That doesn't mean that there's not the corruption. There's plenty of corruption and people need to stand up for it here. And my hope is that the Mexicanos and those of us who are escaping the USA and other parts in the world will realize that being like the USA is not a good thing, that we need to escape from that whole concept, stop letting the government socialize and control and regulate. It won't fix our environment, it won't give us freedom, it won't protect our families, our children, our wives, our society. Government destroys freedom when we don't constantly rebel against their petty rules and regulations and taxations. And we have to learn to unite together for our communities and for our neighbors, and speak up. So anyways, I've had quite a bit of work I'm doing down here lately on my website. My website got hacked last week, and maybe I'll come back and tell you guys once we get that all sorted out. It's mostly sorted out, but I'll come back and talk about that in another live stream since this one's going long. Just give you a little teaser on that. We got hacked. Watch for a live stream maybe later this week on that. And maybe you'll get some tips from it too, how to keep it from happening to you. But Day of the Dead's coming up. Good time of year for photos. I've been really kind of trying to push my craft a little bit on that. If you guys want to follow my photo work, facebook.com/Sime Effects and youtube.com/Sime Studios. And that's my day job work. That's my online photo business that keeps food on the table. As more and more of you escape the USA, I hear from people all the time that are getting out. I just want to encourage you guys to wherever you're going, wherever you're doing, people are going to start leaving the USA like rats on a sinking ship because it's beyond restoring to freedom until complete collapse comes, because the patriot movement is fraudulent. They're loyalists. They worship the police and the state and the politicians, and our time has passed, really. And I hope that other places, like in Latin America, like Mexico, can see how we made those mistakes, can learn from that history and stand up for themselves and not let themselves become the whipping boy for corrupt governments. And it may seem like I'm going all over the place tonight, but all of these thoughts, when I think about people celebrating the loss of their loved ones, and when I think about people escaping like I escaped my country, when I think about the corruption, the propaganda versus the real corruption that goes on down here and how it actually differs, it really makes me think we need to get educated. We need to cast out our preconceptions about what we've been told, what we've seen on the news and on the media. We need to get out and love our neighbor and experience freedom for ourselves. And that starts with saying no more. It doesn't always mean raising your fist. Sometimes it means saying, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm out of here. Goodbye. I won't even engage with a bully. I won't even lower myself. Sometimes we have to say, I won't even lower myself to fight with you because it's a losing battle. I'll get nowhere. You have bigger guns, or you're a waste of my breath. You're a waste of my energy, and I'm just walking away. It's okay to do that. Sometimes the strongest way that we can stand for freedom, and I really think if there's a closing point in all my discussion tonight, I really think one of the most powerful statements somebody from the USA can make for freedom and for patriotism is walk away. It's over. Freedom's done. And so there's some of the haters on here that are like, oh, Gavin's not putting his life in danger by pulling over cops every day. And the answer to that is because I'm actually in a place where I don't have to. I'm in a place where things are very different, and there's plenty to take on, but I can barely speak the language, so I can't take on everything. And we're going to be doing some interesting things going forward. The message hasn't changed on the channel, but sometimes the things we're doing as we talk about that message are getting more and more interesting. And I have not forgot about my Colombian friends. It's been such a busy few months. I got a bunch of video to edit from Colombia, and I'm going to be doing some vlogs on that as well. It was an exciting time down there visiting Colombia a few months ago. And anyways, thank you all. I'm seeing your comments in here. I can't respond and answer to everybody, but I appreciate you guys liking, sharing, subscribing. I know some of the real shallow types that were just here to be entertained are like, oh, we don't like the channel anymore. Gavin's not out, fighting with cops, even though I never really was. But I appreciate those of you guys who actually care about hearing the truth and getting the facts out and learning about culture and freedom and real law and getting past the propaganda and the biases that we've been taught and that we've grown up with, and casting those off and moving past it. Those are the sparks of people loving their neighbor and real patriotism. And it's going to get interesting. I don't know. Life is interesting. I've been thinking a lot lately. I cannot say that Gavin Sime did not get handed a card of interesting life. So I'm going to let you go. Thank you guys for your support, for your prayers. I appreciate it. We're plugging away down here, and stay tuned. Hopefully we'll do some more cool videos for Dia de Muertos. And shout out to my Americanos. Thanks, Sea Salt. Thank you all. Thank you to our Patreon supporters over at patreon.com/Gavin Sime, and the channel backers right here on the channel. You can do that right down below if you want to support us. The more support we get, just helps keep us going, helps encourage me. It kind of helps keep me fired up about doing new content. News Now, all those auditors up there in Texas and beyond. You guys all stay out of the hands of Blue ISIS, stay out of the gas chamber. Know when to get out. Thank you, guys. Have a good night. Peace.